All right. Um, so special guest here. If you don't know, you will find out. To my left uh, is a good friend and somebody that I'm blessed to call also my bro. Um, and I'll just let you introduce yourself really quick.
Um, my real name is Denzel, you know what I'm saying? But I go by the Smeeziest, the Smeeze guy, Chunkster, Chonkie of Tuts, you know what I'm saying? Mr. Wash Your Back, all that. That's who I am.
The smeezy is, make some noise really quick for the ones that sing for the smeezy. Um, just really quick, yeah, happy that you're here and
Appreciate
that
you.
you're um, down to share um, your story with us. Also, we have, and you just met to your left, Dr. Cole.
Hey, Smeeze.
Yes, sir. The Coal Master.
Yes, sir.
Stone Cold.
Yes.
Yes. All right. That's what I'm gonna call you. Stone Cold.
Thank you.
Dr. Cole.
And if you don't mind, Dr. Cole, if you know, you can share with Chunk and the rest of us like your background and why.
Yes, I'm a clinical psychotherapist in the Atlanta, Georgia area. Work with mostly celebrities and people that want all this stuff kind of kept on the down low. And I also have a foundation called the Alive and Well Foundation that is all about innovation. We're all about mental health. We're all about finding new ways of reaching and influencing for good people who don't have access to good mental health, regardless of their ability to pay. So when I met Phil and found out what he was doing, brought my team out here. Shout out to the Alive and Well team in the back. And yep, and they are here documenting everything that's happened the last couple of days. And I just can't wait to get back and talk to my board and say, I found something amazing that we might be able to replicate across the country. So it's a great privilege. I'm so grateful I get to talk to Denzel. And I love his style. Whatever it is, he's got it.
Yeah.
There it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it
You know.
is. Thanks, Dr. Cole. And the lovely lady to Dr. Cole's left, Dominecaa White, also psychotherapist. I'll let you just introduce yourself, please.
Hello, everybody. I am Dominica.
Hey.
I hail from Portland, Oregon, but I reside in Phoenix, Arizona, where I am the owner and the director of Resilient Reflections LLC, which is my private practice.
Hey.
I'm very proud of that.
Hey.
That's been 16 years in the making.
Let's go.
You know, I've worked from we to wow in mental health. I find it very important. I call myself non-traditional because I'm not what people generally expect for a therapist, but I have found ways to connect and to relate because people are looking for somebody who is real, who's honest, who's relatable, who gets it and understands it. So I have a wealth of experience. I'm also a veteran. I served in Enduring Freedom, Iraqi Freedom.
Let's go.
Loaded live weapons on the border of Iraq. I've had a wealth of experience. I am happy to be here. I feel like I belong
Let's
here.
go.
This is where I
Blessing.
am thriving. So yeah, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to meet you, sir. Listen, I've been practicing the dance.
Okay.
Okay, I might hit it for you later.
Okay.
All right.
We're gonna get you right.
Yeah.
Stop
Thank
playing
you.
with the game. Dominica White, make some noise one more time. Appreciate your service too, by the way. Appreciate your
Thank
service.
you.
And also from the therapist, appreciate your service as well. So, and I don't really refer to you as Denzel, but I'm just gonna do that because we're kind of going back to the beginning.
Okay.
So if you could just let us know like where you were born, the upbringing, like where's Denzel coming from?
Well, I was born in Fairfield, California, but I was raised in East Oakland. I'm 34. I know I look young. You know, I look like I'm maybe 20, but I'm 34. I got 3 kids. I'm a father, dancer, son. Um, I'm all that. I come from the streets. I come from I don't know, I come from the hood. I feel like I ain't no different from nobody else. Like, I feel like everybody is raised in the ghetto. Like, it's ghetto everywhere. Everywhere I go, I feel like it's ghetto. So, I'm just a ghetto baby from the town that love to dance and using that as a tool to spread silence the violence and just try to show people they can, you know, do something else. They don't have to be dance, but just coming from where I come from, you know, you don't have to feel shy, I guess, to do what you love to do, or I guess that's the word. But I'm just like somebody that's just speaking for the kids that don't want to, you know, step up or step out their box and try to become something else than, you know, jailbird or gangster. So, yeah.
No, and we're gonna get into that. Like, as far as, so for you were born in Fairfield, and then when did you move to East Oakland?
I was already living in the East. My mom just was on the road,
Okay.
and she just had to make that stop. It was time for me to pop out of there. It was time for me to, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, so she had to stop in Fairfield. And I mean, right after I was born, she came back to Oakland. And I was raised on 82nd, but I hopped off the porch in 77th and Holly. That's where I started like gang banging and all that little stuff.
And I mean, you know, feel free to chime in. I'm just, you know, just trying to get to, you know, obviously being in Oakland, East Oakland. Basically, you're from a trench. You know, there's trenches everywhere,
Yeah.
right? Different cities, different states. You know, and coming from these areas, I feel like we didn't quite have like the resources that maybe other people had, and I felt like you could have went a whole different direction, and whatever it is that happened, like, I'm just, you know, we're here right now, we're gonna continue to talk about what we're talking about, but you obviously have been going in this creative artist space,
Yeah.
whereas you could have been just another person, maybe, that could just be on some other stuff,
Yeah,
for,
yeah.
for lack of a better way to say it. Knowing that, and I'll go to like Dominicaa with just understanding that, you know, Chonkie being, you know, from East Oakland, I'm from South Sacramento, seeing these things, and we're artists, there weren't many like options. I don't, and you tell me, Chunk, but it's not like I was like, oh, I'm going to be a doctor one
Oh
day.
yeah, no, that was not in my mind at all.
Right, it's not. This is literally just us, like, just doing what we're around and just kind of getting immersed in that culture. Obviously, like hip hop. You get what I'm saying? And the music and everything around it. Dominicaa, like, if you're down to chime in on like just this world, you get what I'm saying? That you know, I'm pretty sure you can understand the picture. Like, what do you say, and what are your thoughts? How do you want to chime in?
You know, is this on? Is this thing on? Here we go. Okay. You know, I agree with what Chunky was saying as far as, you know, it's trenches everywhere. You know what I mean? I was just talking to somebody earlier and saying that, you know, my upbringing, a lot of it was music. I found out how to dress, you know what I'm saying, what the latest slang was, where I needed to be, what the look was just through music, you know. And I think there's so much trauma that we trauma bond, you know, that we connect to one another in our communities based on our level of trauma. And with that being said, I wanted to actually kind of redirect and ask you a question, I mean, and you as well, Phil. So Chonkie, for you, you know, as a Black male coming up, so we feel this pain, we don't know what it is, we don't know where it comes from, we don't know if it's an abandonment wound, we don't know if it's rejection, we just know we feel this thing, and we don't know how to pull that up and process it. It sounds like you're learning to process, but you fully haven't had that assistance that you need to really help you dig deep and take a look at that internal pain, assign meaning to it, understand it, and hold it in a different way.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Absolutely.
And really quick, in case you don't know, it's a little lingo, Dr. Cole. That's what we mean by trenches. Underserved communities.
Yeah.
That's what we meant when we say that. Just to, you know, just to let you know what we're talking about. I mean, even you listening to what we're talking about, Dr. Cole, what comes to mind, you know, you have this opportunity, we all do, to just, you know, be able to talk to the Smeeze God himself and how he came to be. Did you want to say anything?
Sure. So I've had another career. I worked at CDC for 25 years and ran around the world trying to understand different cultures, and what I learned as in anthropology and research psychology and clinical work is to listen and never assume anything. But I've also become very observant, and I was thinking when I meet Denzel or Chonkie, what kind of a person am I going to see? And I see this light come up on the stage, and I said, hey, what do you want to talk about? Anything. Many times when I ask people that question, it's like, kind of keep it to this. So he's very open, and you can see his countenance is shining, so I know this is a good guy. And we just heard that he's been through a lot. And even though, well, I grew up in a trench, but a very different trench. I grew up in a cowboy town in Kansas. My mom was a teenager and saw you know, things in my own right and wanted to make my way. And I found a sport, wrestling. And even though I was really short and my name's Galen, and nobody wanted to say, hey, you're worth something. I had that thing in me that made me a fighter, and I got into wrestling, and I got a scholarship, and blah, blah, blah. Even though I was a terrible student because I have dyslexia, dysgraphia, and ADHD. So I'm a doctor now, but everybody's surprised that we just had our 50th anniversary, high school anniversary. I didn't go because I was probably the least likely to succeed. You know how they have a yearbook, and people would have been so shocked. But what I have learned in all this is to be humble and to learn from people. That's why I wanted to get up here. And already I've kind of seen the definition of resilience. You got resilience, man. And so, but you've also been through some really tough stuff. I've read something about your story. You've been kind of to the pinnacle. I know about the dance. I worked with the NFL. It's cool. But then some tragic things happen. And I've had some tragic things happen in my life. I know what it's like in the middle of the night to kind of think about some of that stuff and process it. So it's tough to do it by yourself, but some of us are very unwilling to share because we don't trust. So can you give us some insight into what you do in the darkness of the night to kind of keep yourself going?
I smoke weed.
Okay.
Well, let's be honest then.
Yes, absolutely.
I smoke weed. I just smoke weed and I put on some slow jams. And I tell myself to think positive,
Okay.
that I got something going for myself. I look at everything everything that people don't look at. I just start being thankful. I be like, I'm thankful for I got a roof on my head. I be like, man, I'm thankful for whoever made that light bulb. I'm thankful for that microwave. I'm thankful for these clothes I got on. I'm thankful for being able to brush my teeth. I just start wanting to think positive and just be thankful that I have these things, because I could be homeless or I could be anything else. So when it starts happening like that, just smoke some weed, put on some Tony or something, and I just start being thankful. That's it.
You got an attitude of gratitude.
Yeah.
My grandfather said the most important decision you'll make every day is to have a good attitude. And he also said that even though you have a bad day, you can still choose to have a good attitude. So it sounds like when you're in the darkest hours, you smoke some weed,
Mm-hmm.
you put on some music, and that helps you focus on what you're grateful for. And that gets you over the hump. Anything else?
I might dance, but usually I just sit back and just think about the good times and just be thankful. I just want to be, and just thank the man upstairs, pray, and yeah, that's it. That's really it.
That's awesome. One last thing before I turn it back over. One way I do a lot of trainings, and when I put together my presentations, I run them past people, sometimes fifth graders, and I was running some of these ideas about gratitude past a fifth grader and telling her this, that, and the other, and she says, "Oh, I think you're saying you feel what you focus on," and a light bulb came on, because that's true. We feel what we focus on. You're focusing on gratitude, and it's making you feel grateful, thankful. And because we feel what we focus on, we can change our feeling by changing our focus. But that requires deciding something we can focus on that makes us feel peaceful. So that little step, I challenge everybody to remember that. If you're feeling bad, change your focus, but kind of make a plan. I have a playlist that I turn to whenever I'm not okay, and that within like 3 songs, I'm back on track. Thank you.
No, thanks, Dr. Cole, and just a little context with how Chonkie and I got to know each other. It was some years ago, and I'm dancing, and I was choreographing for Bruno Mars, which I still do. We did a song in a music video called Finesse, and we did this dance in this video that was called The Smeets. And just like, say, for example, The Running Man, me personally, I couldn't even tell you, which isn't a good thing, but I couldn't even tell you myself who made up The Running Man. You get what I'm saying? And that has always been a thing for me. Like I was explaining earlier, that, knowing the stories, knowing the origins, like we were talking about earlier, is big. And I did not realize that, hey, okay, this dance that ended up getting like naturally just folded into this video, seeing people do this dance, it went there. And it wasn't Chonkie that reached out to me personally, it was people that was around Chunk that had reached out to me. And and they got us in contact, and really, I didn't know if it was necessarily all a positive thing.
Yeah.
Let me just say that. It wasn't necessarily all a positive thing, which I understand. And so we actually got in contact, right?
Right.
So we called Galen, Dr. Cole. we tapped in, right? So we got in contact via social media, doing the DMing thing, and then we just ended up getting on the phone, right? And we just talked, just introduced myself. I was like, hey, he got on the phone. It was respect out the gate. And mind you, it wasn't Chonkie that was, it wasn't him personally tripping, right?
I wasn't tripping at all.
He wasn't tripping, and he wasn't tripping.
I wasn't tripping. I was chilling.
And he was really chilling, and we just, from there, we had this conversation, and I basically felt like we kind of got on the same page as far as just like me even letting him know, like, I'm glad that I'm finding out that it's you, and that wasn't my intention to do this thing or to ever feel like I'm taking from someone, and I'm basically finding out that, okay, now I'm realizing I get to meet this person that made up a dance like the Running Man. He's around right now. He's alive right now, and he's just from down the street. Myself being from Sacramento, and you got another person that has this really lovable dance or groove. There's just this thing, this sequence of movements that you would call the SMEs, and so we got to tap in, and I feel like since then, we were just able to really connect, and I told him, like, hey, have you heard of this thing, BWBE? It's Biters Will Be Eaten. It's this slogan that I started a long time ago, because being in this hip hop space, we really like to encourage being original. And if you're maybe even regurgitating something, if you're copying something, like, at the very least, like, let's acknowledge that. And the buy-in could be just, say, for example, if I'm doing the Smees dance and I'm like literally just out here acting like I don't know that it came from this guy, when I do know, it's basically like a, if you know better, do better type of situation, right? So now I know. Now I know that it's Chonkie, and I just felt like, more than in this dance and us having this conversation and being organic, I think like things developed organically, but fast, in the sense that just even you talking about Merlin, Sword in the Stone.
Yeah.
He's a Disney kid.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, because I'm a Disney kid, bro. You have this feeling towards people that are biting. I understand that, and I would never want to be on that side. So I felt like we started to relate in so many ways, and basically, if we're connecting and we're meeting as like adults in our 30s, but I felt like we're connecting as like as if this is like my childhood friend. You get what I'm saying? And we've just been building, and now doing this tribe thing. Now we're rocking out together, and it's really been a blessing. So going from doing this dance and that dance and this kind of issue popping up, to us being able to connect and talk and have this conversation, and now to be able to build a friendship, and for us to basically look out for one another and to celebrate our stories together, to be able to tell people, like, on a microphone or in a video, or even just kind of push a line of somebody's like, hey, if you know better, do better. You know that's the Smees, and you know that it's him. And he does the same. That's the Sack Boy. That's, you know what I mean. That's SB. You know what I mean. And we kind of like built that relationship where we could really like look out for one another in that regard. And there's not many people, because not everyone are sauce makers, if you will. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. And you know about that. And I think that's what we talk a lot about. Yeah. So I don't mean to be too long-winded, but fast forward, we're doing these things. We ended up tapping, with Bruno, and we did the NBA Finals together. We just started really rocking out, and we're gonna continue to do that. But for one, I've done it before, but just to even do it here, like I'm grateful that something positive came out of that little conflict. Areas is different teams when they touch down, and then it just because it's like almost dang near protocol to after you get a touchdown, then you hit the speaks.
Yeah.
It's exploded. We're on Fortnite.
Fortnite.
Make some noise for that real quick. Like what? Like we're busting down the doors and we're figuring out how to bring it back to the origins of things. Obviously with TikTok and everybody doing the same dances, and it gets hard because it like things get processed and things get popular and you don't know where it comes from. At least we can identify a source and we can celebrate that source. So it's been going viral, and then if you're down to chime in on, what happened recently and why, because when I met you, you didn't have crutches, and there's a crutch behind you. If you want to talk about how everything's been exploding, and then how you ended up having a crutch behind you right now.
Well, yeah, the SME's been going up. I still been going up. You know what I'm saying? Even on crutches, I've been, trying. You know what I'm saying? I've been trying. But I got shot recently. I got shot on September 23rd at I don't know, maybe two or something. But I got shot in my left hip with a 45. I still got the bullet in me, too. I was just at the wrong place at the wrong time. It was some little youngsters trying to rob a Brinks armored truck in Oakland. I was, what's crazy, I was on my way to the movies, and the next day I was on my way to Vegas. And I went to a auto store, and I felt like I was in a movie. I felt like I was playing Call of Duty. I had to. It was a lot. And a bullet came through my door, and all I know is I didn't even panic. I just was like, I'm shot. Just in my head, like I'm shot. And I'm just like, let me wiggle my toes. For real, like, let me wiggle my toes. And I wiggle my toes, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, my toes is moving. So, yeah, instantly, toes is moving. Let's go.
I got shot, but my toes are moving.
My toes is moving, so I'm like, let me, it's a dead body on the ground. I'm just like, I get out the car, and I limp into the auto store. Lucky somebody knew me from Instagram, from dancing, and they was just like, you hit? And I'm like, yeah. They like, we're going to the hospital. So I wasn't even there for 3 minutes. I was already at the hospital before the ambulance even got to the scene. Like, they trying to figure out where I came from. They like, are you a person that robbed them? They was ready to handcuff me to the bed. Like, you here too quick. Like, you sure you didn't? I'm like, man, I'm in booty shorts. I'm missing a flip-flop. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying, how am I? You know what I'm saying? So,
We'll talk about the booty shorts.
Yeah, but I'm like, it ain't, so I got shot, and I'm hella thankful. I just been looking at it as I need to slow down, because I do a lot. I still be outside, if y'all know what that means. Like, I'm not in the streets, but I'm in the streets. So he was telling me to, like, you got something going on and you need to sit down. Like, something is coming. Like, let's just sit down. And that's how I just been looking at it. Like, I think that was like, I ain't never been shot, and I don't want nobody to get shot, because after I got shot, the PT, what was it, PSTD, whatever it is, that shit is real. I think about getting hit different ways at night. Like, I think about just like anything. Like, if you ever seen like different death videos or people getting shot, that's kind of like sticks in your head when you actually get shot. So I started like just thinking about if I got shot in my heart or my neck or my head. And then I'm like, I couldn't sleep for 2 weeks. I'm sweating like I got COVID. Like, at night I'm just waking up like literally the whole bed is soaked and I'm like, I'm trying to like be positive, but I'm crying and trying to like having battles with God, asking him like, why did I get hit? And then, you know, I got my streetness kicking in and I'm over here making phone calls, trying to figure it out. And then I'm just like, then I got that other side of me just like man, you left this life for a reason, but things happen for a reason. So I took it as like, you be in Oakland too much. Like, you passed Oakland. Like, Oakland is over with. Like, I need to be living in the suburbs. I got 3 kids. I got, you know what I'm saying? I got stuff going for myself. So, yeah, I've been shot, but I'm blessed though. I'm happy. Like, I'm like so happy, like to the point it's like people won't even think I'm shot. They be thinking I'm just something just wrong with my leg because I'm smiling so hard. Because I accepted it that things happen for a reason, and I probably did need this to just like slow me down. Because I probably would have still been moving how I'm moving. Definitely the way that my career goes. I dance for different hoods. I promote different hood songs. I be with different hood niggas. I be different turfs. So I can be like, you know, it can be I can get got anytime just for dancing to it, you know, somebody's song. And I'm in the town, and you know what I'm saying. So I just took it like, you gotta slow down and just reroute yourself, and then come back, and then everything gonna be good.
Bro, I'm so glad, like I said, like this is my first time that I'm seeing Chunk in person since he got shot. We've been on FaceTime, we've been on phone calls, text, you name it, but I haven't seen him in person ever since he got shot. And, you know, I'm just, you know, I need to take a breath. Like, I might need y'all in a second because, like, you know, I'm so glad that you're here, for one, and I'm glad that you're even down to share your story. And for me, like, for example, you know, you being shot or myself going through this sort of trauma, you're looking at it in a certain way, like, okay, he's being optimistic in a sense, right? He gets hit in his hip, then now you're almost in a place to where like you focus on the wound or getting into the gratitude thing. Is that toxic? Is there such a thing as toxic positive toxicity? How do you refer to that? What's that?
Yeah, I think that there's toxic positivity.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
so you know, myself even going through trauma. Now we're almost like, okay, you just got to work with what you got, and then you lean into that. So it's like, yeah, I got shot, but my toes are wiggling, and then sometimes, and I'm sure you can understand, or you probably felt that. It's like, why do we even have to like even be happy that my toes are wiggling right now? Like, why can I just not be shot? How about that? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that's kind of like a real, you know, battle, at least that I know that I've experienced, with the trauma that I've experienced. But does that kind of make sense to you? Like, when you're in bed, you're talking about sweating and you know what I mean, going through all that, like that battle of like, okay, do I focus on, you know, the fact that I've been shot or lean into the fact that my toes is wiggling and I can walk and I'm alive?
You gotta go to the toes. You gotta think about the toes and that you're alive. And then just, yeah, I was just thinking, honestly, when I got hit and when I made it home, I was just like, man, I better be able to dance again. That's really all I thought about was like, I better be able to hit the smees like with no problem. And like, that's all I was thinking about. Like, so I stood up and I was like, ooh, nope, sit down. I sat back down like, nope, I can't do it. But then I was just like, I just kept praying. I was like, man, I just hope I could just be able to still move the correct way. Like I didn't want to look crippled. I don't want to look crippled. I don't want to walk with no limp. Then I was like, if I do walk with a limp, I'm like, you got to be a pimp. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, if it's gonna happen, I'm gonna make it look right. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I was just like, man, I better be able to dance, man. Like that's all I was worried about. I was just like, I'm like, when I go see the X-rays, I'm like, I just hope it didn't hit nothing serious. Cause they just left it in me. They was just like, just threw me in there, and they were just like, they X-rayed me, and they didn't even show me the X-ray. They just told me like, it's on top of your pelvis, and like it didn't shatter your pelvis, but since it's so far in you, they like, we can't go get it. I'm like, what? I'm like, y'all finna leave this bullet in me? They like, yeah. I'm like, so am I gonna get stitches? They like, nope. I'm like, what? I'm like, so what are y'all gonna do to me? They like, we're finna clean you up, make sure you eat, and then we're gonna send you home. Bandage you up, send you home. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, well, yeah, hurry up then, get me home, cause y'all irritating me, cause y'all ain't doing nothing. I'm like, y'all got me hot. They like, okay, rushing me. And so yeah, I was just like, man, I hope I'm able to dance. So after like 3 weeks, I just started doing just my own physical therapy. I just like started walking without the crutch around the house, walking upstairs. Just anything I can do without this, I was just like, let me do it without this. So I just been, it was a little battle. I'm still battling with it. I can sneeze right now, though. You know what I'm saying? The doctor told me 6 months. I told him 3. You know what I'm saying? And I'm in it's been 2 months. I'm going, you know, I'm there. So, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy because I thought it was over, honestly. I really thought when I was gonna get out the car, I was gonna fall. Because I thought it was just like, I just knew my toes wiggled, but I didn't know if my leg was gonna work. But when I got out the car, it got me into that building. But then I think after that, it was just like, my leg was just, it was so much adrenaline, I just had to get up out of there quick. But then once I got in the car, I started sweating bricks. I started getting tired. I started putting my head out the window, like, I'm like, oh my God, I'm really shot, y'all. I'm like, I'm really shot. I'm like, this is crazy. I'm like, man, I be wiggling. I'm just thinking to myself, like, I be wiggling around. Like, I'm like, I didn't really got hit. And then I'm like, they didn't really try to rob a Brinks truck with some Glocks. You don't even got no, you know, you robbing, and they was young too, and you know, Oakland is, you know, shit, the city's small, so, you know, my little cousin called me like, I already know who it is, and yeah, I'm like, damn. He like, yeah, bro, shit crazy. And I'm like, man. So, but they didn't call all the little cats though, but that wasn't even the first robbery. They been doing it though. They had already scored once. And that was just that daytime, or, but I just know. I wish I could just like rewind it, just a couple of seconds, like, cause I really wasn't finna go to go get that car part. That's what's crazy. I was finna go be with my baby to go to the movies, and then I was getting ready to go to Vegas. Remember, cause I was finna, with Matt and shit. So I had my day planned, like, and I just ended up going to the damn store.
No, I mean, we'll lean on the professionals for this. Having, that thought in your mind, like, if I just did this, then this wouldn't have happened. I mean, I'm sure you treat those people, you talk to them like, and I'm here too. So you're talking to Chunk, but I'm here like about to listen in on what it is you say to people that have those thoughts. If I just went to my daughter, if I already just went to Vegas, if I already went to Block's house or whatever, I would have not been in this situation. This wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't even have to be so grateful that my toes are wiggling. I would it would just be wiggling. You get what I'm saying? Like, what do we do with that?
I did an assignment to China and had the weekend off. So I got a driver to take me to the Great Wall. And I have horses, love horses, so when I do an overseas assignment, I try to get a picture of myself on a horse. And they had these Mongolian horses in this village, and my driver took me there. But he had this idea, I'm going to make some money off this American. So he takes me to this showroom, and we go in, and there's this beautiful urn with horses on it. And instead of saying, do you want an urn with horses on it, the guy says, $500 American. And I said, I'm good at negotiating, I'm a psychologist. I said, it's too much. So they told me
you were from the trenches too. Like, you can't do that to me.
So I said it's too much. So then they start to tell me this story. They said in this village, which was near the Great Wall of China, there was a famous Zen master, and he was one day in the woods near the wall, and he found a horse. Brought the horse back. The villagers said, "Master, you're very lucky. You found a horse." He said, "I'll wait and see." The next day, he woke up, the horse had escaped. The villagers came to the master's house and said, "You're very unlucky, you lost the horse. We'll wait and see." The next day, the master's son was out in the woods, found the horse, and two others brought all three back, put them in a fortified corral. The villagers are so excited, "Master, you're so lucky, you have 3 horses. We'll wait and see." The next day, his son is riding one of the horses, gets bucked off, breaks his leg. Villagers come to the house, "Master, you're very unlucky. Your son has a serious broken leg. We'll wait and see." The next day, a regiment of the Chinese army came to the village, recruiting young men the age of the master's son to go to this terrible battle over the wall against the Mongolians. And when everything settled, the villagers came and discovered that the only young man that didn't go because he had a broken leg was the master's son. So they came to the master's house and said, "Master, you're very lucky. Your son broke his leg." What did the master say? "We'll wait and see." So Chunk, had you not been there at that moment, who knows what would have happened? And I was listening very carefully to what you were saying. You were saying, should he focus on, should I have been there, or should my toes move? Remember what that 5th grader taught me. She said, we feel what we focus on. So focus on what makes us peaceful until we can wait and see how all of this is going to work out. But I can promise you that that attitude of gratitude, Martin Seligman has done studies all over the world and shown that people who are optimistic, positive, regardless of their circumstances, because it's really hard to change circumstances. It's a lot easier to change us than it is to change our circumstances. That's going to make you healthier while you sort this out. It's going to take you a while to sort this out. I encourage you to talk to somebody you trust, because sometimes it helps to think out loud. And but you are the definition of resilience, and maybe this is just the beginning of an opportunity for you to teach people about what it means to climb out of very difficult circumstances and what it means to get to a place where you're moving too quickly through life. And maybe sometimes you need a wake-up call to say, hey, slow it down. We'll wait and see.
Wait and see. Sure.
Thanks for that. Dominicaa, you
I wanted to chime in on that as well. So we talked about the kind of shoulda, coulda, wouldas. As soon as I heard that, it reminds me of bargaining, which is a part of the grieving process. Change creates chaos, whether it's good change, whether it's bad change, right? And sometimes change and chaos can mimic that grief and loss cycle, because sometimes there are things lost, right? You didn't lose your life, but there was a piece of you, there was some hope, a little, right? These things were lost. So in that grief cycle, you know, we have the anger, we have the depression, we have the bargaining, right? The if I had only, if I could have, then we go to acceptance, then we go back to anger, you know what I mean? And so that bargaining piece is the brain saying, if I would have done this different, if I could have controlled my own destiny. So that's why we do that bargaining. That's a part of the grief. And so it's important to remember that grief does not only come from a physical loss. It's emotional losses. It can be financial loss. There's the grief, it's heavy, right? And we cycle through it. We call it the cycle of grief, but it's never a cycle. It goes from this point to that point. It goes all over the place. We think we've arrived to acceptance, and then we're back angry, and then we're back bargaining, right? So it's a normal part. It's a normal part of the healing process. Also, you posed another question, Phil. You said, well, can you, I've been, how Chonkie, I've been shot, then I'm wiggling my toes, and Phil, you're saying, well, the gratitude, but the disappointment. Two things can exist at once. We can be suffering, but have peace, okay? We can be down bad, but have hope. Duality is normal. It's a part of the human experience. So it's okay, our lows bring us high, and sometimes we're on high, and then we fall low. And so remember, it's okay to experience your feelings, and for them to fluctuate, and to go up and down. And as a person who grew up dealing with everything and internalizing everything, you almost had to move into that toxic positivity, right? Because what other choice was there? But what that does sometimes, right, is the gratitude is a blessing, but sometimes we slap that gratitude on top of our pain and we suppress that pain, right, with the gratitude. But we have to be able to release that pain, to look at it. You talked about PTSD. I understand it. I understand what it does. I understand how it can plague and paralyze. And so it's important that, like Dr. Cole said, finding someone to help you process, because you do a lot on your own, but you don't have to. And that's the message that we've received, from growing up. Don't talk about it, don't share about it, figure it out yourself, thug it out, right? That's what we do, and we make it. And so we feel like, I'm good, I made it, right? But there's still trauma lives in our nervous system. It's there, right? So when it doesn't come out through talk, right, through reflective conversation, it comes out through other things, physical ailments, depression, weight loss, void-filling behaviors. And so as much as we learn how to manage ourselves, it's always helpful to have that outlet to really help you process that. Those thoughts that are coming recurring, those things don't really leave. They don't really ever go away. But when they come up, you learn how to hold space for them differently. They become, if you're around me long enough, if you've listened to me long enough, you hear me say all the time, healing is not linear. It doesn't go like this. There's really never a healed. It's always I'm healing, ... right? And it's a journey, so you got to take it one day at a time. And over time, as you learn how to process this stuff, when it comes up, the memories aren't so jarring. They're not so startling. It's like you can revisit it and the pain becomes less sharp and more tolerable over time. Pain is not something that will just cease completely, but over time it becomes more manageable.
That hit me.
And so, like, again, I'm just being present, right? Grounding myself, observing that, you know, if you were here earlier, Dominicaa was just talking about just like noticing how we feel, observing our thoughts, or how your body literally feels. Like I'm leaning right now, so my back is feeling kind of weird, so let me just straighten my back. And then I need to wash it too. Man.
Yeah, same.
I'm straightening my back and being present. And I personally just want to let you know that I'm sure, and you've said that, you know, it could be hard, like just still dealing with, you're still healing.
Yeah, I'm still healing.
You're still healing right now.
Right
So
now.
you have those thoughts. You can have those thoughts of like, what if I wasn't there? Or I know who it is. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
but you, and then you can also have the other thoughts like, well, my toes are wiggling. I'm dang near about to be hitting the sneeze. Maybe even better.
Yeah.
It might be like rookie of the year type situation where
Spring.
Yeah, you might have a spring. There might be a spring in
It
there.
might
now.
be a spring.
And that's what's so funny about our dynamic. I didn't even know if you watched, you know, Rookie of the Year, but he just off top because we're, you know what I mean? Like we speak the language, and me, not, you know, I don't mean to be like toxic positive or whatever. You get what I'm saying? But like me personally, bro, I'm so grateful that you're here, alive. I'm grateful that you're able to share your story. I'm grateful that you're able to do that because you're inspiring not even just the people out here or the people that are going to be watching this video. It's inspiring me. You get what I'm saying? And you've been there for me too. And I'm just so grateful, bro. I'm just so grateful.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
For real.
Thank you.
So thank you for continuing to weigh in this world in a positive way, because I know we could easily go that way too. You get what I'm saying? But the fact that you continue to lean into that love, I respect it, bro. You get what I'm saying? And you're still celebrating your inner child. You're still being creative. You're still cracking these jokes. We're still, at whatever age, we're still making these like Disney references and, you know what I mean? Like talking about all that type of stuff. Like, to me, that's dope. And those are the type of people that I want to surround myself with, because that's what puts me in my creative space. Obviously talking to professionals. We're trying to figure out how to maneuver as adults. We've never been adults before. We've never been at our age before, and you know, we've never lived this life before. You get what I'm saying? So, I appreciate you, Chunk, for real, for real, for real. And I hope that, you know, this is some form of something that you could lean on. You know, when we, you know, I know you don't want pity. You didn't even want to put out the fact that, you know what I mean, like to parade that you got shot or whatever. That's why I asked you over and over and over again if you were even down to even talk about this, and the fact that you were open to talking about it. I appreciate you, and I wish I had literally had some flowers to give to you, because you're able to smell them right now. You've been doing so much, not only for yourself and your family, and for Oakland, and for the Bay Area, and for California, and for the West Coast. Like, this is like a worldwide thing. You get what I'm saying? And you're here right now, and it's Chonkie the Smeeze God, everybody. We appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you, Chonkie.
Well.
Thank you.
Thank you. This the guy right here. know what I'm saying? The Smedes wouldn't really have got to where it's at if it wasn't for this man. You know what I'm saying? For real, helping me out. Just telling me what to do and how to do it. And even just thinking about me when he had an opportunity to, bless somebody. He blessed me to meet Bruno. Bruno walked up on me like he been knowing me. And I was just like, bro, you short. You short. Like, I thought you was short. But nah, he really helped me out, and I really appreciate you, man. For real. That's why I always tap in when I can. You know what I'm saying? Love, 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 love.
Phil, can I?
Dr. Cole, Dominecaa,
I wanted to thank you. I wanted to thank you for creating a space and an environment that's non-judgmental, where we can be who we are, whatever that looks like. This has been phenomenal, and it's when people follow through on their vision, when people know what that gift is and they follow through on it, everything is aligned. There's been so many connections formed here. There's been people tapping into places they didn't know they had. There's people that have got free of toxic situations here. There's people that have found themselves, and this is all through your obedience. And so through our own obedience, there's also healing. And so thank you. You're doing the right thing, and there's a ripple effect. We see it.
Thank you, Dominecaa. I appreciate you. Life-changing, your influence and your wisdom and everything that you have to offer is amazing meeting you as well. Dr. Cole and my brother Chunk, TRYBE member.
Yes, sir.
And everybody that's here that's also just here to be a witness. You know what I mean? To our lives, to be a witness to these stories. This is ultimately what I want to do for everyone within my circumference, is to help give people that platform to be able to just tell their stories. You get what I'm saying? And express themselves. So it's an honor, and it is a responsibility, I feel like, of mine. And man, as long as I got it, you got it too. You get what I'm saying? So
Likewise.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you guys for coming out, and lady,
Thank you so much.
Dr. Cole, Chunk, and everybody that's performed and weighed in and helped out with this whole situation, behind the scenes, in front of the scenes. It's so much love. Thank you so much, you guys.
Yee!
It's the TRYBE, it's the YNTRO.
Look. Oh man, they gonna be mad.
Stop.
They gonna be mad, man. Oh, that was me, God.
Said I gotta do better, I gotta do better, I gotta pick up the pieces and master the puzzle of